Hi everyone. So let's talk about some other things that I didn't talk about in my other videos. So this is my beautiful game. As I say, it's beautiful because this is the full Windows version. It's not the Android thing that I made. So anyways, we'll work with this because I'm really not going to talk so much about the design and everything. It's more about coding. So then what happens, let's look at one of the most important things in Unreal Engine is this thing called level blueprint, right? So open level blueprint, and when you open what basically a level blueprint is, it basically, because my game is super simple, the level blueprint is really simple too, right? So it just basically tells you what happens the moment you start the game. The game that starts, what happens the moment the game, the moment you go in here and you say play from here, right? That's when the level blueprint gets, it kicks in. So let's look at it. What is it, my level blueprint? What is that I'm doing in here? So, I have an event begin play, which is, when you start playing. Then I have, and as you see, you learn that you need to do this with your code. You need to keep everything organized and also give yourself comments. So need both the help and creating object reference, right? So this is a sequence node. What a sequence node does is that first something happens, then something else happens, then something else happens. One, then two, then, right? So let's look at what's my zero. My zero is what instance is this guy, right? Game instance. If I show you, I'm gonna show you, right? So if I right now play from here, right? Say start, okay? You start my game and right? Okay, that's like playing the game, right? Now imagine if I just quit out of the game. So when I start again, play from here, the exact same thing, welcome to, which is your welcome screen, shows up again, right? This is by design. This is, I want this, this is what the game is, and you have the option of start or quit. So, and this thing about computer or whatever, but start or quit, right? So that's, that's normal. That's what I want, right? So you go start. If you quit right there, that's it, you quit, right? So you gotta play from here again, right? And then this guy again. Now, so play from here, start, right? Now the thing is, if you play my game, and again, this is the full beautiful Windows version, it's not the Android version, or the lo-fi, because I made okay, so this man needs help. I'm going to that. I'm going to this, and I do get a thing and says keep out. This is quick, and there's the man. Right? He needs help. Now this dialog box show a man seems to have fallen in quicksand, is drowning. Would you help him? Please beware, the quicksand is deadly and you may drown yourself. So you have the choice of yes or no. Let's say I want to help him. Yes. Game over, right? Thanks for being so kind, wanting to save him, but unfortunately you have both died, right? So would you like to play again, right? So I'm asking you if you want to play again. Now, if you say yes, did you notice what just happened? What happened is that you didn't get the welcome screen. That is again intentional. I didn't want you, when you restart the game, and this is what happens in any game, that when you restart the game, you don't want to get the credits and all that stuff again. You just want to, restart from where you were or whatever. My game it's not that complicated, so you don't really end up in a place and whatever. It's just the same thing. And the guy's crying for help right now. But the thing is, you got to understand is that this is happening because I used game instance. If I didn't use game instance, I would have no way of skipping that credit. So now I'm going to quit out of this, and I'm going to tell you what is the mechanism that I use. So I use game instance that returns a value, right? And then cast that game instance, and this is some little bit of a coding. It basically, I am trying to establish title screen already shown or not, right? That's my Boolean character that I created, So this, if the title screen is already shown, something is gonna happen. So you see, there's two choices. So this is coming from game instance. It's game instance is using this, is basically feeding this guy, and says, as start game instance using the game instance variable, and it's saying that it's two choices. Has this title screen been shown? Yes or no. So yes goes to this condition, no goes to this, right? So if the condition has been met, as in the title screen has already been shown, as in you already have seen it, if the condition is met, if it is false, then you start the game, right? You go to start the menu. So not only you start the game, you do the start menu, which is that credit thing, or the welcoming screen. That's my start menu. But if it hasn't, something else happens. Then this happens, and you just say title screen has already been shown. So basically what this is saying is that if this is the very first time that you're playing the game, then with the game instance, if it is, so this is saying title screen shown false, as in title screen has not been shown. Just show the start menu, right? That thing, the welcome screen. And then when you show it, go to title screen already shown, set that Boolean, right? Make it true. If it's already been shown, because of the power of game instance, just skip this guy. Skip start menu and just go says already shown. So that's the power of game instance. Without game instance, that is not possible, right? And maybe in one video I'll tell you about how game instance works. But this is basically, I use game instance here. Then here, I am, of course, is another cast, and he's using, get player character when I'm casting. And while the player has not seen the man drowning, play the help sound. So remember the help, help, help. This is just in the beginning of the game, when you start the game. And if you haven't seen the man, and if you're just running around and haven't been to the quicksand, this thing is gonna run where every 30 seconds or so, the man is gonna cry, right? And it keeps looping. This is basically designed in a way that if you're not going to the quicksand, if you're not going to save the man, this keeps playing so that it kind of reminds you that somebody needs help. Okay, so this is what that is. So that's our second thing here, right? And then finally, we have to start the game right away. No need to click the mouse. So if I don't put this guy here, this little bit of code here, set input mode to game only, and set this thing here, then when the game starts, you can't really move the character until you click the mouse. So you need this piece of code. So this is the last piece, right? So the first one was establishing whether or not there needs to be a start welcoming screen, then it's just the man crying, and then finally here make sure that you don't need to click the mouse, and then finally get actor of class, and basically this is how you start the game, right? This is get actor of class, this is just for the stick and everything. So that's basically level blueprint. This is really important. This is the beginning of the game, any game. You want to have level blueprint. That should give you an idea. This is an important thing to learn. And just gonna maybe spend a couple of minutes talking about some other code here. So as I told you before, my whole thing, all my main code is under third person character. Third person, okay, third person blueprint, third person BP, third person character. That's where all my code lives. And as I told you, maybe in this video I will give you a very quick overview of my different case, right? So up top, these are the thing that it's Unreal Engine itself, has nothing to do with me. Let's talk about these things. So what is this? This is what happens when it's a complete UI dialog box system, right? So you first have your first screen UI, and this is basically, I call it complete dialog box system because my game is simple, and the way I have it is that everything you do, you end up having to deal with a dialog box, right? And the way I designed this game, that's the help that I told you that it comes, and if you don't go to the quicksand, it will keep looping. So all my dialog boxes, it's a dialog box here, right? A man seems to have fallen, and there's a yes and no. If you do a yes, like I did before, you saw that I got drowned. If you say no, are you sure you don't want to help him? So the way I have the dialog box says, every dialog box has a yes and no, and then when you say no, there is a second question, and and if you say yes, he may ask you, would you like to help him drowning man? I say no, and this is just of course a sequencer, and there it is. And again here, even with the game over, it's a dialog box, right? It's a dialog box, and if I say yes, great, I play again. If I say no, say, are you sure you don't want to play? And would you like to play again? And so yes, you can play. If you say no, well, you don't play. Okay, so it's over, game over, that's it. So basic what happens is that whole dialog box system is done in this here. Okay, so we have a UI first screen UI, first pop-up, this is just an event. Then this happens when the player holding the stick refuses to use the stick in cast, this is kind of confusing here right now, but then anytime any dialog box has been activated at all, set this to triggered, store the dot, this is for using with the data table, then has the player chosen to save the man, create a first screen with the default text found, then add it to the viewport, give player access to mouse again. So this is a first dialog box. Remember, then there is some kind of a code here that it's very important to talk between dialog boxes. But then here is a generic pop-up. So the first pop-up is the first one, but the generic pop-up is the second one that shows up. And it says create second screen with the alternate text found in data table. And again, it's using the data table here. I have to do a much more detailed video on this. I'm giving you basically an overview of how my two dialog boxes work together. And in the second screen, remove it and the player, So, and that's my dialog boxes. Right here, I have another piece of code. When player chooses to pick up stick, so this is what happens. Then player saves the man with no stick, what happens? Restart the game. So each one of these things is a piece of code that gets executed based on the choice that the user makes. And this is all established through the data table stuff, right? Player doesn't save the man with the stick, and then finally this thing. Player chooses to save the man with stick. So the thing is that, as you can see, each one of these starts with an event. These red things, of course, are events, right? And one final thing that I'll show you, I have shown this before in my other videos, but the thing is that my blueprints, actually that's not a blueprint, it's in my UI, right? It's in my, I think is yes, no, party, and let's look at the, yeah. So this here is where, based on the data table, each one of those events gets triggered. Stick, save, down, based on what says what's in the data table, these things will be chosen. These are found through the data table, and then if it's a stick, then stick event, then save event. And of course some of them have multiple things that happen. Well, I know that this is just, I'm not going in too much details. I have to do that much more stuff, show you in much more detail what I have done. But I hope this gives you some kind of idea of what I have created here. Okay, I hope you learned something from this, and I hope you subscribe and come back for other videos.